Far, I've showed a whole bunch of different aircraft and talked a lot about the theory, and there's a lot of reasons for that. For one, when you're engineering an airplane, you need to consider absolutely everything. And anything you do to it changes what you get. Now this is my slow flyer. Now this works great. In fact, it glides just the way it is, beautifully, and climbs when hand thrown. So it can handle a fair bit more weight than what's on it, which is great. It's a good little aircraft. I know what I'm doing. I haven't designed one yet that sucked, guys. All the ones I'm showing you work great. Now here's the trick. I'm not done with that one. I'm not done testing it. I'm not done building it. It's got landing coming today that I ordered for an ESC, but that's a totally different project. What I will say to you is the following. I have designed a ton of aircraft, and I'm going to show them all to you guys for free. This is going to be a sick biplane, and I'm going to show you how it's done. This comes off of a lid. Plastic lid, just like this. Go buy yourself some ice cream, man. Free building materials, it's awesome. Good plastic for that. It'll eventually crack and break and stuff, but it's totally fine. You won't end your career kind of thing as a pilot, because it does, trust me. This is great stuff because you can bend it into shape, and once we put it in place and glue it, it'll actually do just fine. As you can see, it's pretty straight. A little bend, and it works out great. Or you can just put it on something flat, put some weight on it, and leave it there overnight, and it'll be straight. This stuff's awesome. Same goes for this kind of stuff, but it's a little more rigid. Comes from this, okay? So, what I'd like to do here is kind of set you up in a position where you can see, and all I'm going to do is show you how I made this wing. Now, as you saw on that little plane, if you were paying attention, there are VGs on the leading edge that are custom. Stay tuned, like and subscribe, because I'm going to show you how to build a new kind of VG that actually works awesome and has less resistance than a lot of the traditional VGs, and works awesome to slow fly an aircraft that is super lightweight, meaning super weak on the battery, super weak on the motor, not super fast, but super slow. I want it to be able to stay in the air with as little power as possible. One of the ways to do that is to generate as much lift as possible with as little resistance as possible. Now, traditionally a biplane is not ideal for that. It's just not, because it has two wing surfaces, and given the fact that they are curved with like wings, it's going to be a problem. But in this case, I'm actually not going to do that. I'm not going to give this wing a sharply curved appearance. In fact, it's actually going to be flat, and I'm going to show you how to build a flat wing that rocks, and we're going to build it just slightly up on an angle. Both wings will be mounted just slightly up on an angle. One is actually going to be slightly angled up, one slightly down, but the one that's angled down will be on top, and it'll be angled down like half a degree, whereas the one on the bottom will be angled up like 1.5 degrees, which on the whole will mean it'll want to climb. That's good. It won't take too much power to have it climb. In addition, on the leading edge, I've got VGs, and I'm going to put those in place. I have enough here to make 8 just like this. No, I won't need that many, but I do have enough for 2 for each side. And these came from, as you can see, they're quite easy to stack. I'll just show them to you really close up. They're nothing special. You can see one here. And they are symmetrical, so that they're all roughly exactly the same size, which is nice. And where I get them is from here. So, this is also where I'm getting my wing material from. This is kitty litter. Anybody got a cat? Alright, well, you can ask them, and they will be happy to give you building material for free. Now, one of the things I love to do on my channel is to show you how to build free stuff. For example, my custom RC sailboat. Aside from the cost of the RC gear, it costs me nothing to build. You can get all the bits for free. The same is true of this build. Discarded fishing rod. Literally found it on my way home one day in the garbage. Discarded. And we're not only going to make a plane, we're going to make a biplane that's going to be sick. So, all I've done to create this wing is to cut this out above this line and trim it off all the way around, top and bottom, And then very carefully trim exactly along that line to get a nice straight edge. It makes it so easy to do. And then you have the little lips on your wings that are good. And we're going to show you how to use those. Well, I am anyway. And you have a tail. And you'll notice there's no vertical. I have most of the pieces made for this aircraft, and at this point I wanted to bring you guys into the build process so that you could actually see it. There are other ones that I could have used, and if you look, see these? They're much more angular, and they have an angle coming in here. But they're rounded at the top. And I could have used these ones, but similarly I could have used this. They are approximately the same size, as you can see. And any of these kitty litter jugs tends to work just great. Now these ones were from a different company, as you can tell by the lid, but they have a rounded section here, as you can see quite clearly, and that is what I wanted. Whereas when you look at these ones in the light, they are angled and rounded at the same time, which is okay, but I actually didn't want that. Why? Because it's more resistance. And the way that I lay out my VGs is very different than would be traditional. Allow me to show you what I mean. So on this VG, you see that there's a long extended section, and it is round. It is the same shape as what you see represented there. Okay? And it's just an increase in the lift along the leading edge. But as you look at it going out to the tip, it cuts over nice and smooth because it's all one piece, and it does the little lip along the wingtip to match the angle of the wing and to create more lift out at the tip than there is along the ridge, but create more lift along the ridge than there would be without it. And the wing is a very good lift profile. This one, when hand tossed, climbs just the way it is with a 9.5 gram motor and prop and gear reduction setup on it. It also has the setup for holding on the battery. I'm actually not going to use it to hold on a battery. I am going to use it to hold on something else, but I will do a separate video on that. I have been doing a series on this. If you guys want to see this one, this is my indoor plane, and I wanted to show it to you in this video because it has a lot in common with the biplane that I'm about to build. Yep, you heard it, a biplane. So, I'm going to need 2 of these for a reason, and I don't want these ones. Luckily, the cats have continued to poop, and my roommate provided me another one of these tonight, and the last one a couple of weeks ago, and this one here a couple weeks before that, and I kind of collect them so I have building material, along with everything else that is plastic and various kinds. I've been experimenting with a bunch of them to see what works and what's best and all that stuff. That continues. These ones are great. I have a couple of different kinds of tape. All you need to do is tape them down to support your ailerons once you cut them, and they're generally going to be pretty solid. Those of you who know RC aircraft know what I'm talking about. Those of you who don't, stay tuned. I kind of showed it. Once you cut them, you basically cut them part way through along the fold to make them flex back and forth a little easier so the servos can work it from one end and they'll all move together. Because the whole thing needs to be pretty easy to move up and down. But once you do that, you move it up and down enough times and it'll break. So what you need to do is tape them and put on what they call tape hinges, and that'll help, and it'll keep everything all good. So that'll be shown later, and that's how this is going to be set up. But in the meantime, first things come first. So I made the tail, then I made my wing. And you'll notice along the wing, it has the same thing. It has these VGs. Only I'm going to put it like this, you might think, and you would be correct. Only this is going to represent the bottom of the plane, and I'm going to do another one that represents the top of the plane. Underneath the VGs, I'm going to fill them in so it's just a straight with just tape. I'm just going to tape over them, okay, so that it's smooth. That way, on the top of the body, the wing goes faster. And as you can see by the fact that this is the body, it's pretty much going to sit like that, with one wing underneath, another wing over top. But this one has some pretty cool black and yellow writing. And it's going to be black and yellow with clear wings. And then I can paint the wings black or yellow or combinations thereof to make it both appealing and visually obvious in the sky. Black may not seem like the best choice, but on a blue background, when you're flying in the day in the sky, it stands out great. This is going to give me about the right proportions. In fact, my body is a little long for the wingspan, but I am going to be putting a fair bit of weight up front, which means a longer tail section makes it easier to CG the airplane and to guarantee that I'm going to CG it. I do call this an engineering channel. I do know what I'm doing. I will make you a biplane that flies better than anybody else's. But it'll have VGs all along the bottom and a straight wing that has a tiny lift profile along the edge. Then on a slight angle up, as we discussed. Then these will have a slight leading edge. This will get cut back, and I'll make a little wingtip out of that. And the front of it will be gone for less resistance. And I haven't decided yet what I want the tips to look like. And this is one of the things I encourage you to do before you finalize anything. I only have so much of this to work with. So what you want to do is take it, lay it out in front of you. I love to do it this way. Lay out all the pieces, lay it out in proportion, and see how it looks. Then lay out all your VGs and see where they're going to go and all that stuff, if you're going to do VGs. The truth is you don't have to. Most people do something like this, they don't put VGs on it. I'm kind of going crazy on the VGs because I want to do this with a narrow wingspan, and I want to do it with very little power, which means it's not going to be going all that fast, which means I need to make maximum use out of the wing. I want it to be a slow flyer, and the reason is I don't want to have to take it to a flying field. I want to be able to just kind of give this a toss outside my front door or my back door and fly it in the backyard or front yard. And I don't have that big a yard. It's kind of going to be 3D. So it will have enough power to hover on the prop. It will be 2 to 3S, and this is a project. Okay, I'm going to cut this video because it's 12 minutes, but I just wanted to catch you guys up so far on where I am. Because it is equal on both sides of the jug, just to point it out, one of those, when I cut it out, I didn't need it because it's the top of the wing. It would be a rectangular box if I didn't cut that out. But because I did, I have these, and I realized these would be perfect for my VGs without me having to do too much hard work, and that's awesome because it gives you good VGs right out of the box, and they're really easy to set up. All you do is put them in place along the leading edge of the wing. In my case, I'm actually going to put them just over the lift moment. So once the front will create lift, then it will go over the VGs, and the VGs will be placed like that. Kind of a thing, only they slide apart, guys. Okay, and are rounded on the edges because I have ones with rounded edges. Okay, so you put them like so, and you'll see they line up beautifully both ways. Man, I'm bad for this. I say I'm going to end a video and I just keep going. But it's always because there's always more to show you guys. It takes a lot to build a project, but it's not that much. And if you do it, you'll see it works out awesome. So as you can see, I have enough VGs here to cover the entire distance of the wing. Okay? Pretty much. So that whole lift will be one followed by another lift moment all along the front of the wing from about here to about there. So this from here to here is so heavy lift, and along the bottom is so heavy lift, and along the top as well, because this one has the same features, and this will be the top wing. I'll tape off the bottoms of both, and with all that air slowing down over the tops of these wings and the straight bottoms of these wings, they will get lift like crazy. This thing is going to be an awesome little flyer, and will be the ultimate slow flying backyard 3D airplane. Keith out.